too bright? How do I look? Hello, everyone. It's nice to see you here. I have my second screen right here. That's why I'm looking this way. Um, and I am now going to be looking in front so that it looks like I'm looking at you, right at you. So I want to welcome you back to day 2 of my special live series on preparing for the Camino de Santiago. If you're watching this live or if you're watching the replay, add your name and where you're viewing from. And of course, if you have any questions, I will address your questions on tomorrow's live. That's right, because we're doing this for 5 days. We did one yesterday, and I'm going to do another one tomorrow, and then another one on Thursday, and of course, then on Friday. So if you joined me yesterday, we talked about how to choose the right Camino route for you. And today, we're diving into something that's really important, packing essentials for the Camino. Now, I realized yesterday I made a boo-boo during our live. I forgot to introduce myself, so I'm going to do it right now. And of course, if you're on my channel, you probably have a good idea who I am. I'm Linda G. Robert. I'm your Back in the Groove Again coach, and I'm a travel coach as well. I love the Camino. I've walked it twice so far, and I do believe in the transformative nature of the Camino because I changed. It absolutely changed me. So, okay, let's talk about packing essentials. We know that packing light is key to having a successful, stress-free journey. And I'm going to share the must-have items that you'll need for your Camino adventure. Now, I think one of the most important things that I learned on my own Camino was that less is more. So when you're walking for hours each day, you don't want to be carrying a heavy backpack. So what should you bring? Here's a few of my essential packing tips. Of course, you need a backpack, of course. You can't do away without having a backpack. So your backpack is almost like your constant companion. You want to make sure that it's comfortable and that it's well fitted. I recommend a 20 to 30 liter backpack. It's big enough for the essentials and small enough that you won't overpack. And I'll be mentioning this later, but the size and what you bring also depends on where you're sleeping. I'll talk about accommodations on another day, but I'll talk a little bit about it on this live as well. So in terms of clothing, you want to pack light, breathable clothes, and make sure you have clothes that will keep you comfortable in both warm and cool weather. You know, a couple of lightweight shirts, long sleeves, short sleeves, pants, long pants and shorts, depending on the time of year, and a jacket should be enough, especially since you may end up walking in the rain. You'll need some quick drying clothes as well. That's really, really important. 2 pairs of lightweight moisture wicking socks, I think would be enough. I also recommend packing a lightweight compact poncho for rain. And on that note, make sure your poncho is good enough for heavy rain. A high quality lightweight rain jacket, rain cover for your backpack is not essential, but if you have the poncho, you can just cover it over, cover your backpack. Quick drying clothes and waterproof shoes would be the ideal if you can get that. So on the Camino Frances, the French way, the rainiest season is spring, March and May and autumn, October to November. And on the Camino, just mentioning the rainiest season is winter. Del Norte, the rainiest season is autumn, September to November, which is when I went last year, and also in the winter time, November to February. And if it rains, you can also expect muddy paths, right? Muddy paths in Galicia, the Galicia area, slippery terrain along the coastal routes, and cooler temperatures during the wet periods. So you want to keep that in mind. And I suggest you test out your rain jacket before you leave. Now, let's talk a little bit about your shoes. Your shoes, whether they're hiking shoes or boots or walking shoes, make sure they are broken in and comfortable. So don't go buying a new pair of shoes and expecting to wear them on the Camino. Break them in. You don't want to get blisters. So choose a good supportive pair of shoes. Personally, I opted for Hoka's last year, walking shoes. They were great, and I found them very, very comfortable. But it's a personal choice. And again, try out your shoes before you leave. Just keep in mind that you'll be walking for 4 to 6 hours a day on varying terrain and through different weather conditions. So you want to make sure your shoes, whatever shoes you decide to bring, are up for that type of challenge. No, no flip-flops when you're walking. Also, remember to bring a pair of sandals or flip-flops, and that's when you're not walking, of course, so that your feet can breathe and you can just relax, because you might want to go out for dinner and wear flip-flops. Might want to consider a first aid kit, a small one. That's important, especially if you're prone to blisters or minor scrapes. You don't need to bring much, just a few bandages, blister blister plasters, and maybe some antiseptic cream. I had bought a full first aid kit, but I had to leave it behind in Canada because my suitcase was just too heavy. So all I really needed was the bandages, and that's all I brought with me, and some glider. I brought some of that stuff too. My friend gave me that. It was really, really helpful. My friend used Vaseline as well on her feet every day, and a few other things to prevent blisters. So that's okay too. Now, most pharmacies are on the Camino, so you can restock if you need that. You want to keep your toiletries simple. Now, most hotels will provide shampoo and conditioner in travel size bottles. So there's no need to bring, of course, the large bottles. You can also find shampoo and conditioner and everything else you need in every pharmacy along the way. Especially in big cities, you're going to find pharmacies almost at every corner. If you have special needs, of course, then bring that along, right? I recommend also bringing only what you absolutely need. So I only carried what I needed for the day, and I knew that I could buy anything else that I was missing along the way if I needed to do that. Now, if you're staying in hostels, you're going to need to bring your own toiletries. From what I understand, they don't supply the toiletries. Now, what you bring also depends on the type of accommodations that you choose. I chose to stay in hotels. We're going to talk about that on another day, which meant I didn't have to worry about carrying too much on my back. So my suitcase was actually transported for me. So I only had to carry my daily essentials in my backpack. And because my poncho fit in a little bag, I always had it with me just in case, because when I went to Del Norte, it rained a lot. I wanted to make sure I always had it just in case it rained. I also had extra shoes, and I also had socks and snacks in my backpack too. But if you're staying in hostels or albergues, you might need to pack a little differently. So you want to make sure that you consider your accommodations when you're packing. Remember, the key to packing for the Camino is simplicity. You want to carry as little as possible while you're ensuring that everything you need is in your bag. Before you pack, ask yourself that question, is this something that I really need on the trail? Right? During my first Camino, I bought way too much. And it was because I also did a cruise just before the Camino. Remember, I said yesterday that I went from Bilbao. So I did a cruise before that I started walking. Then I was going to Mexico right after that. So I had a big suitcase, which was really too heavy to bring up the stairs. So you want to keep these types of plans in mind, when you're packing. Otherwise, you can wear, the same clothes nearly every day. No one is going to notice, believe me. And if you want, of course, more information related to your packing and more, I suggest you download my 10-step guide to preparing for the Camino, and you'll find that at lindagrobert.com/Camino. And on December 28th, I'll be doing a free webinar, and you can get the details for that at lindagrobert.com/webinar. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about, for me, a very important topic, how to stay present, and how to be mindful throughout your walk. We're going to talk about how you can make this journey not just about the physical steps, but also about the mental and the emotional experience. And on day 4, by the way, we're going to talk about the physical preparation. And on day 5, we'll talk more about choosing your accommodations. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at the same time for day 3 of our live series. Now, before I go, I just want to show you a couple of other things. This is something that I brought with me. They're little capsules. They're hydration capsules. I'm just going to open one. And right, you can kind of see them. I dropped one in my water bottle. This one happens to be tri-berry flavor. It was very helpful because when I went last year, I went in September. September 19th, September 20th, and they were experiencing, this is in Spain, the Del Norte, they were experiencing a heat wave. So I'll tell you, it was really, really hot. This year, I still, of course, had my water bottle with me. You want to bring a water bottle, but it wasn't as hot because I went from October 16th to October 29th. So the weather itself wasn't as hot at all. Actually, it was getting cool. I'm glad I brought my long pants. The other thing I want to share, I shared, this with you. It's easy to get into the routine in the morning. Last year, I experienced a lot of rain, which is why I suggest testing out your rain jacket before you leave, because you don't really want to get to Spain or Portugal or France, wherever you're walking, and then go, not the right rain jacket. But we'll talk more about that when we talk about the preparations. The other thing too that I found helpful, but not always needed, was this headlamp. I'm just going to show it to you. I bought it last year when I went to the Del Norte. Right, I had that on my head like that. You have to look. I've got some videos that show you when I had to use it. Now, that was helpful, especially when I would leave and it's still dark in the morning. I bought it with me, thinking that if I get there late at night, because I wasn't sure how long it would take me to walk 30 kilometers or 27 kilometers, I would bring it with me just in case, I needed it at night. I didn't know how dark it was going to be. And of course, I didn't need it at night. But in the morning, there were a couple of days where I left around 8. It was dark, and I needed to wear that. You can check out one of my videos. The other thing, too, and of course, I talk a lot more about this during my webinar, but the poles, right? These are the ones that I wore, but as long as you get yourself a good pair of poles. Why? Well, you may believe it or not, my friend, Marianne, she came with me to the Portuguese Way. She wasn't sure if she should bring her poles with you. She was glad she did, because when we were going up a slope or a steep hill, it was very, very useful. We were walking a lot on cobblestones, right? A lot on cobblestones. There was one day on the Portuguese Way, which is the central road, that we walked up a hill, but it wasn't just a hill. It was a rocky, mountainous hill. And that, my poles were really, really helpful. So you want to get yourself some poles as well. And, we're going to talk about preparation in a few days from now, but I want to say that for now, you want to practice walking with all of your equipment, and that way you'll know what works, what doesn't work. And I will talk more about that, when we meet again, when talking about preparation. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for being here. I'm just going to, hello. I'm going to bring this over to this side so I can be looking at you. I was sharing earlier that you are you are you were on my second screen. Anyways, please chime in. Tell me where you are coming from. Tell me who you know, what your name is. And if you have any questions, I'm going to respond to them tomorrow. Hello, bonsoir, bonne soirée. Oui, je parle français aussi. I will see you tomorrow, same time, same place, 5 o'clock. Take care. Bye.